Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Talk About It Tuesday. I have Kyle Kruso here with me today, and we're hanging out to talk about the MSHDA programs. Michigan home buyers, if you're looking to save on a down payment and look for assistance, MSHDA does have several options. And I'm here with Kyle from Legacy Mortgage to talk about that today. How are you
I'm
doing?
excited. I'm excited to talk about MSHDA. I think it's like a lot of the ones we've been doing so far. This is a program that look
Yeah.
into when buying a house.
Yes, because it can be a daunting time trying to, in today's economy, pay our regular bills and still continue to save a nice amount of money to purchase your home. So,
100%.
okay, let's start with the basics. What exactly is MSHDA and how does it help home buyers here in Michigan?
So MSHDA is a down payment assistance program that will give up to $10,000 to a borrower to go towards their down payment and their closing costs. So it is it's a 0% interest loan. So it has to be paid back, but and that's only when you buy or sell a house, and we'll get into those details here in a little bit. But overall, essentially, it's just it's first time home buyers, and it gives you money to go towards down payment and closing costs, so that you can save your money for other things, other investments, upgrades in the house. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier for folks who don't have a ton of money up front.
All right. What are the current down payment assistance programs offered through MSHDA?
So currently, I mean, we did have that 25,000 first generation, but that did run out of money. That was just a special side program. So the current down payment assistance that are going to be offered with MSHDA, that's going to be the $10,000 to go towards your down payment and closing costs. Outside of down payment assistance, I do want to let people know that there is you can use a MSHDA loan just for the interest rate alone. You don't have to get the money. So as long as you're meeting income requirements, which we'll talk about here in a bit, but you can use that. You can use a MSHDA loan program to go towards getting a lower interest rate than the current conventional or FHA or VA loan rates right now. So that's another one that I would definitely strongly consider people to look into as well.
Yeah, that's interesting to know. So also,
Mm-hmm.
how much assistance? Well, you said the 10K. Is that the only assistance program right now that a buyer can get through MSHDA?
Currently, that is correct. Yep, up to $10,000. That's right.
Okay. Is this assistance a loan, grant, or something in between?
So this is going to be it's a 0% loan. And they're not forgivable. So they must be repaid. And really, it just depends on a couple different factors. So if you ever sell the house, or if you ever refinance your home, or it's no longer your primary residence, you would have to pay that $10,000 back. And um, there are some special circumstances and stuff like that, like case by case basis, where it could be forgiven, but those are a little bit more rare.
Okay. I mean, but it's get you into the house, and if you see yourself staying in the home for a long time, that's a great opportunity for you to have help getting into the home that you're looking for.
Yeah, and think about it. You know this too. Like how much are home prices? How much do you kind of it's a 4% increase usually every year. So you're gonna be building that equity. So that $10,000, if you did like a refinance or if you sold it, you're gonna have that equity in the house.
Right, right. Yeah. What are the income limits or credit score requirements buyers need to meet?
So credit score requirements, it's a 640 credit score, so you don't have to have perfect credit to do these things. And then as far as income requirements go, it varies. It's a very easy Google search to find out what income requirements there are for your county, and there are two factors into income requirements, and it's targeted areas and non-targeted areas. So, for example, let's look at Genesee County. The targeted areas are going to have higher income thresholds. And the targeted area in Genesee County would be um, Flint, Genesee Township, or Mount Morris Township, and that can go up to $114,000 of household income. Any other area in Genesee County, not those three cities that I mentioned, be non-targeted, and the cap on that income is about $95,500 for household income, and everyone in that house, whether they're on the loan or not, it has to be factored in.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then can these programs be used with FHA, VA, or conventional loans, or just are they exclusive with MSHDA?
Oh, they can be used with any of those. FHA is the most common, conventional as well, and then VA. And I know what people are thinking, like with VA, it's already 0% down, but you can combine that with VA to, either pay your closing costs, or you can combine that to, get more equity in the house. So even though it's a 0% down payment, you can use that MSHDA for a down payment as well on VA. So definitely, something to think about there if you're using a VA loan.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to tell you about too is with, FHA, VA, or conventional. This isn't a down payment assistance, but this is a really cool tool. It's called the MCC. It's the Mortgage Credit Certificate, and it can be paired with FHA, VA, conventional, RD, you name it. And what it is, it's up to a $2,000 federal tax credit every single year on your taxes that you own the house. And it just really depends. It's basically, it just depends. It's about a 20% interest back, just depending on your interest rate and your monthly payment. So typically, if you have, let's say you have a $200,000 home that you're buying, you can take advantage of that MCC Mortgage Credit Tax Certificate to get back money on your taxes every year. So it's a really cool tool to use that as well. And the only thing I will say is it can't, that MCC, that tax credit, just can't be combined with when you're doing just a MSHDA loan itself. It can be on FHA, VA, conventional, RD, but no down payment assistance when you're taking advantage of that tax credit.
Okay. Well, you're dropping all the gems today, Kyle. Uh, I love it. Um, does the home, we already talked about the targeted areas for the income limits, but does the home have to be in a certain area, or are these funds available statewide?
Statewide funds available.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like an RD loan, USDA, where there's it's got to be in an eligible area. MSHDA is statewide. It's the only thing it varies is it targeted or non-targeted.
Gotcha. Are there purchase price limits?
Yeah, so for a long time they were 225, 224.9, and this year, actually May 1st, it was just increased to 544,000. So quite the jump there.
Yeah, that's a lot of house in Michigan. Now, I don't,
Exactly.
we're gonna put this video on YouTube, so they might look other places in the United States, but in Michigan, 540K can get you a lot of house.
Get you a sweet house.
Yes, yes. Um, how long does the process usually take to get approved for MSHDA assistance?
It's not much different than a regular loan. I just like to say 30 to 45 days from start to finish. And that's just to be conservative. I've closed them in less than 30. I've closed them in 45. It just depends on circumstance, to case by case basis. But typically, if you're working with a lender who is very experienced and does a lot of these MSHDA loans, that time frame does speed up a bit. And the current MSHDA turn times are, once you get everything done with the loan on the lender side, when you submit that to MSHDA, it's about 6 to 9 days right now. So once you submit that there, they'll usually get that back approved pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Do the buyers need to take any home buyer education?
Yep. So individuals that are applying for a mission mortgage, they do have to, take a home buyer education class and receive a certificate of completion. It's really nothing crazy. It's not like you're going to be going somewhere and spending 3 hours to do this thing. It's a pretty quick process, honestly. And really all we need is that certificate of completion showing that you took the class.
Okay.
Maybe online.
Okay. So yeah, the class online. Come on, guys, let's do it.
Easy
What are
peasy.
what are some of the biggest myths about the down payment assistance program you like to bust?
So some of the myths I would probably bust would say only for first time home buyers. Like, so some people will say, well, I've owned a home in the past. So I probably can't do MSHDA. Well, you're a first time home buyer if you haven't owned a house in the last 3 years. So if you owned a house and sold it 4 or 5 years ago, you're going to be eligible for MSHDA because technically you haven't owned a house in the last 3 years. So you are a, first time home buyer still. So that's one. A lot of people think, MSHDA runs out of funds. Like sometimes when the government meets and, like rural development, USDA, sometimes those funds do get frozen for a little bit when they're working through some stuff. But for MSHDA, it's self-funded, and really the more loans that MSHDA can do, the more funds that they'll have to give out. So, the more you use it, the more you're able, more able to give out.
Okay. Do you think many first-time homebuyers in Michigan are missing out because they just don't know about the programs?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's just something that, and we've talked about it on other things before. It's like, people kind of, they discourage themselves with not on purpose, but they just don't have the knowledge and they knowing that what these programs are. And with MSHDA, if you're someone that says, "Oh, I only have $2,000 saved in the bank, I'm going to need much more than that for a house." With MSHDA, you're only legally required to bring 1%. So if you have a $200,000 purchase price, the minimum you can bring is 1%. So $2,000. So I definitely think there's a lot of folks that are missing out on it, and the more is the more tools you have in your tool belt, the better you're going to be able to set yourself and your family up financially.
Yeah. Having 1% saved up is a lot easier than 10.
Exactly. And it
Okay.
can be gifted too, so you can get a gift from a relative and stuff like that for that 1%. So
Okay. Yeah, can't forget about those gift funds, guys.
hmm
From experience, what type of buyer benefits most from the Mr. programs?
I mean, I would just say everybody would benefit from it as long as you're in those income limits and under that purchase price cap.
Mhm.
But the biggest thing is, I mean, the biggest benefit you're going to have is someone that might only have that 1% saved up, or they're buying a house that's in good shape, but they want to do some things to the house. They might have to buy appliances and furniture, and rather than you putting that money in your down payment and your closing costs, you can save that, have MSHDA do the down payment and closing costs for you, and then you can save that extra money to do upgrades to the house, buy anything you need, or just keep a rainy day fund. Because that's another thing. As you know, when you buy a house, usually things go wrong in that first year
Mhm.
and you're not ready for it because you've just dumped a bunch of money on your down payment and closing costs. I would keep it in that rainy day fund just for anything that happened, or just to have that money invested in other things.
Yeah. Yeah. We can always use some extra money.
Exactly.
Any tips you'd like to give to future home buyers?
I mean, if once you're pre-approved, I always tell people just take the class, just get it over with. I mean, it's not a long one, but it's just one thing you can check off of your list with the certificate of completion. So even before you have a house, I would just say just knock it out, get it done. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. Um, just with keeping your credit good. I mean, again, you don't have to have perfect credit for MSHDA. Like I said, it's a 640, but just kind of make sure your credit's going to be in that range at least. And then other than that, just like for every other program, make sure when you are pre-approved with the lender for that who does MSHDA, get them over your pay stubs, get them over your bank statements, your W-2s, your tax returns, just to make sure that income is in line. The last thing you want to do is find a house and get your offer accepted, and then turns out there's some things that we have to work on now that we've got your pay stubs and stuff like that. So I would say the biggest thing is just be ready with all those items and get that out of the way early so the fun part can start finding a house.
That's right. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about regarding the Mr. programs?
No, the biggest thing I just wanted to say is, and I've already said it with that MCC credit, the federal tax credit. I mean, it's just such a cool tool to use, and a lot of people don't realize this. But let's say your debt to income ratio is a little bit tight, um, you can actually use that $2,000 federal tax credit. You divide that by 12, and you can use that income monthly. It's like $166 a month to go towards your debt to income ratio. So that's a huge tool to not miss out on. Um, Other than that, I think we covered everything here. Again, it's just a great program that I'm glad we're able to get some information out to these folks. And obviously, if you have any more questions on it, you know who to call. Just get a hold of me directly, and we'll get you set up.
That's right. Call Kyle Kruso at Legacy Mortgage here in Michigan. And
Yep.
if you're looking to for me to connect you, I can connect you with him as well. I'd want to thank you again, Kyle, for coming to talk about it Tuesday on another great topic. And thank you for sharing so much knowledge that I hope people utilize. Don't leave no money on the table if you can get help.
Exactly. Exactly. I love being here. I love talking about it Tuesday.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.